Hey everybody, welcome to part 5. In this section, what we've done so far is we've looked at how we get the log files from Office 365 in, how we set up your message trace, how we do some service tests from the tenant. We then looked at how we did service tests and performance analysis from the client. And in this section, we're going to take those the tests that you did in log analytics, and we're going to surface them into Power BI and try and get an understanding of what's happening in Power BI. It's much nicer and easier to understand what's going on with desktops in this environment. I often say, people say to me, like, why should I use Power BI versus log analytics? Real simple, when you're in your car, you're driving down the street, when you look at the dashboard, you're in Power BI, how much fuel have I got? What's the temperature? How fast am I going? What's the revs? You bring it to the garage, you say, hey, I need my car serviced. They plug in a laptop to the engine management system, they start examining it, and they get into more detail. We showed you queries in the last section. We take those queries, bring them into Power BI, and we're able to slice and dice them really powerfully. We're able to look at things like, Skype for Business. I'm able to pick, a single laptop like PK, and it will just go and spin into my environment. And then I can compare this to Amale. And when I look at that, I get a view straight away of, bytes sent received, bytes sent received by process, time generated. I can look at the countries that Skype for Business has been worked in, and you get a really clear way and picture to understand each of the services. So if I were to then go and look at Outlook, it's the same deal. It's saying, hey, look, here is the bandwidth utilization for Outlook, and we've sliced and diced it in loads of ways on the screen. But if, for example, if I go to, if I just focus on PK Pavilion for the moment, this is the last 24 hours, you can see the max response times, 882K, it's absolutely diabolical. You can see the remote countries where I'm communicating with. You can see, for example, my response times, the sum of the response times, the process's Outlook. But then if I just go on to something like Mahesh's laptop and I click on that, you start to get a picture super quick of bytes sent and received, and links failed. Is there links failed and links established? And you can see that the links failed are all, 11 links were failed. They were by PK Pavilion. So, the person using that machine rings you up and says, hey, I'm having some issues with Outlook. And you're like, well, where's the first issue? Well, a person using, PK sits beside Mahesh in the same office. You click on the two of them and you say, wow, the links failed are on PK's machine, and it gives you information straight away that, hey, there are links failing, and you're able to go in and understand, what's happening from the Outlook environment. Again, I can do exactly the same for SharePoint. I can go in and see bytes sent and received. I can see my response times. Again, I can just pick on PK, see my response times, my links failed, and I can go to Mahesh. And when I click on Mahesh, you can see Mahesh, these two people are sitting beside each other in the same office. Mahesh has much better response times, way better response times. But you can see that the volume of traffic is overwhelmingly PK, absolutely overwhelmingly PK. And the links established by a remote country, it's all from the US. Okay, links established, PK is establishing, 3,500, and Mahesh is establishing, less than 100. Okay, so we get a profile, and I can go and pick everybody. I can go and look at all the machines and say, hey, what does it look like across all users? And you can see quite clearly, there's the highest response time. We get a good picture of them. And then the super cool thing that you're going to love about this is we give you the ability to go and compare computers. Okay, so we give you, somebody says, hey, I have two machines, what's the deal? What's the problem? Okay, so we are able to give you the ability to select a laptop or desktop. We typically recommend you have 20 in your insights group so that you can get in and understand what's happening on them. So I can pick a laptop, I can pick a process, and you can select the time frame in the last 24 hours that you want to see what's been happening. And we get a map of where stuff is going on. So once again, if I pick PK, okay, so just focuses on me. And then I say, hey, show me what's happening with Outlook. And it will come in and it will say, hey, look, this is what's been happening with PK Pavilion. And you can get a good understanding. Now, if I then pick that desktop 9J4, awesomely named, again, I get a picture straight away. And you can see, for example, links established and links failed. And desktop 9J4 does have a bunch of failed links. Okay, we can see the links established. We can see the failed links. Now, when we look at the percentage of failed links, I mean, desktop 9J4 has a ton of failed links. We can see the countries where it's going to. And, if I want to say, hey, show me what's happening for Outlook, but also let me see what's happening for Teams, you can get in and slice and dice it for Teams as well. And it will, pivot that back. And as quick as this, you can go in and say, hey, show me, different time frame, and boom, it will just go and rewrite for you and show you that time frame. And can I do it for everybody? Of course you can. You can just go and select all the machines. You could pick all 20 of them in your grouping, and it would show you what's happening in terms of links failed, links established, bytes sent and received. And it gives you an amazing way to go in and compare your machines. And this is like the real power of the insights. The last thing we do in this is that on video 3, which is how we test the service from your tenant, you can go in and see, is Mailflow working? Yes. Is Teams working? Yes. OneDrive and SharePoint. I know you're looking at this particular Power BI report and you're thinking, oh my God, these guys have non-stop imagination. We're going to clear this up as our product matures. Thanks for watching. Let's jump on to the next video.